So, this is my first time making a video, so I'm sorry if my charisma is a little low. I decided to just be fully natural and not wear makeup because I'm pretty sure this is just for me. If you stumble across this video, welcome. Being pretty quiet because I'm a little nervous about all of this. My fiance is in the next room and it's a little awkward talking to a camera in my bedroom. Maybe eventually, if I start doing this throughout my whole journey, I'll set up the other room to have a backdrop and be fancy with everyone else. But I kind of just wanted to record my own journey because so far it's been a pretty long journey, and I think it'll be good to look back on when we do finally have a kid of our own. So a year ago, we started trying to have a baby. It was March of 2019, and I needed my IUD taken out anyway because I had had it for 5 years, so it was done. And I decided I was just going to use Daisy, which is a fertility monitoring device. You just take your temperature every morning and it tells you when you're fertile and when you're safe to have unprotected sex. So we were doing that for a month, and then we decided to just start trying. So then we started using the Daisy to try to conceive. It told me when I was fertile and when we would be good to try. And then I also started taking ovulation tests, and I tracked with a couple of apps. I'll talk more about the apps that I currently use because I found what works for me. I know there are a million fertility apps out there. So we tried like that for 4 months, or 3 months, and then we decided to stop trying because it just wasn't working out, and we were moving and buying a house, and we just didn't think the time was right. And so it was my fertile week. I didn't even know because I wasn't looking at anything, and I stopped temping, and we only baby danced the first day of my fertile cycle. That was the only time during my fertile cycle, or fertile week, sorry, that we had tried, and I ended up getting pregnant that month. We found out the day after we got our puppy, and we were both in shock and then excited and then more shock, and it was just mixed emotions. And I got an appointment at the end of the week to kind of see what was going on because it was really weird. It was super early. I shouldn't have gotten a positive technically, so they took us in and they told me that I either miscarried or had a blighted ovum. Regardless of which way it was going, there was no yolk sac, there was no fetal pole, there was no baby, but there was a gestational sac and a placenta that was measuring, it looked around 6 weeks, but they were saying with nothing in it, they could be off. And in my state, apparently the law is you carry it to term or you pay for an abortion. And so I decided to abort the empty sac because I didn't want to grow for 9 months. I said by the end I would look like I was about 5 or 6 months pregnant, and then most likely have a C-section and be out of work for 8 weeks to take the full-grown placenta out. It was just felt like that would be a lot worse. So we waited another week after finding that out. They checked again and there was still nothing in there, so there was definitely no baby. And so we went through with getting rid of the empty sac, and that was very stressful and terrifying and a very traumatic experience. And then after that, I went on birth control because I didn't want to deal with that ever again, and I thought maybe I didn't want a kid at that point, and because if that was just going to happen to me again, I didn't want to do it. That was a terrible experience. And so I went on birth control. That was August of 2019, and stayed on it until January of 2020. We decided maybe we want to start trying again. So I went off birth control, but we were still using protection because we knew we wanted to start trying, but our wedding is also still coming up, hopefully. With the pandemic going on, who knows when it'll happen. But so at that point, we were still oblivious to the virus going around, but we decided to try, and in January I went off birth control, but we were still using protection because we weren't sure. There was just a lot going on. And then February came around. I had my annual exam, and I talked to my OB about a lot of stuff. Maybe, like, could this happen to me again? Does everything look okay? And all of that. And we decided we would start trying in March. And so we did. Now I don't temp anymore. It's just, it became a hassle and stressful, and with the current situation going on, by March we knew what was going on, so I didn't want to add any more stress. So all we were doing was, I'm taking ovulation tests and using Glow fertility tracker app. Hopefully I can screen record. I'm gonna try to figure that out now. This will be fun for editing me. So this is my Glow. In here, I've been using it for quite a while. So I started using it again in November to track my periods because they were being very weird back on birth control. I got used to off birth control periods, and then I was back on birth control. So I was tracking my periods and still sometimes tracking ovulation. I really started tracking ovulation again in January, which is here. I don't really mark when we baby dance other than when I'm fertile, so it only shows up during green days or near green days, for the most part. Like February, we really didn't try, so I didn't count February. We weren't really trying, but saw that we were ovulating and attempted. But March is when we really started trying. Things got a little messed up in March. My ovulation was a little off from what I thought it was going to be. April, we were very consistent with the every other day kind of trying. And now May, I always, since we started trying, have been ovulating on cycle day 14 or around cycle day 14. It's either 13 or 14 or 15, like always right there. And now it's cycle day 10, which this month is concerning me. So I do know that, like, stress changes things, and this virus is very stressful for everybody. I'm working from home, sort of, and it's just very different, and I'm seeing a lot of people have really bad experiences with this virus. And I decided to start making videos because I thought, I'm also having memory problems with this virus. That's something that happens with stress. My brain just decides to block out those experiences when I'm stressed. So if I start feeling really stressed, I don't remember a lot of that day. And so I decided to start recording my experience. It's also something to keep me busy during this time, and maybe I can keep doing it. Who knows? We'll see. If you see this, thanks for watching. I'm sorry that I'm not the most charismatic person or exciting or all made up. It's just in my bedroom, and it's just me talking to myself, really. But if anyone has any comments or tips, I would love to hear them. If anything worked for you, let me know. That's it.